Okay, Coventry City have sacked Mark Robbins. They currently sit 17th. They are tied on points with five other clubs. Plymouth are in the relegation zone, but they're also tied on points with Hull, Luton, Preston, and Cardiff. Preston have already changed manager a couple of times this season. All those sides are basically separated by goal difference. So they're 17th on goal difference. They're only a few points off the edge of the playoff places. So honestly, a bit of a momentum swing could happen. But 4 wins out of 14 this season has done for Mark Robbins. They obviously lost to Derby the last night. However, before that, they'd won two in a row. So they've won two out of the last three, but they lost the last one. Now, in his second spell in charge since March 2017, he's taken them to a playoff final last year. And at the end of last season, earlier this year, an FA Cup semi-final, and came within 45 minutes of winning in the 90 and taking the side to Wembley to play an FA Cup final. Both games were lost on penalties, so they've had two trips to Wembley in the last two seasons, unfortunately coming out on the losing side. And he was the longest serving manager in the Football League, March 2017. And of course, Coventry, it's well documented their off-field issues that they've had since leaving Highfield Road and since being relegated from the Premier League over 2 decades ago. It's been 2 and a bit decades of real bad mismanagement off the field, bad ownership, stadium issues, money issues, nearly going bust, not being able to play in Coventry for a while. I think they played in Northampton for a brief period. It has been dysfunction off the field for Coventry. Mark Robbins has brought stability on the field and a definite improvement from where the club were to where they are now. But 4 wins out of 14 this season isn't great, but a couple of wins can completely change the whole dynamic. So from what I can gather online, Coventry City fans are really angry at the board and the ownership for the sacking, and they're a bit bemused. They've been taken a bit by surprise. The effort is not lacking from the players. Goal scoring's been a bit of an issue, and holding on to leads has been a bit of an issue, and sometimes creativity. But the effort has been there. So the fans are a bit bemused by the sacking, and actually a lot of them are quite angry and frustrated by the sacking. Now, yeah, there were some fans, and I've seen this online, who were angry at some of the performances and some of the losses from winning positions, some of the draws from winning positions, but they never were calling. No fans, I don't think, from what I can gather on social media, were calling for Mark Robbins to be sacked, yet the board have acted quite quickly. They've sacked him. And it's going to be interesting who they get to replace him at the Sky Blues. It's going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see how the Coventry City fans respond to the new appointment. I feel a bit of sympathy for the new guy coming in, whoever it may be, because the fans are clearly angry at the ownership and the board. He's got to win them over. I feel sorry for Mark Robbins. I think this has come a little bit out of the blue, but the form this season has been a bit not great. 4 wins on the season out of 14 games. That means they've either drawn or lost 10, which is not great. And the only reason why they're not in the relegation zone is goal differential. But as I say, it's a very congested league. It's the Championship. There's a lot of clubs on 15 points, 6 in total. Plymouth are the club out of those 6 in the relegation places. But there are only a few places off my club, Blackburn, who are 10th with 19 points. So a couple of wins completely changes the dynamic of where Coventry sit in the league. It is that goal differential, which A, is keeping them out of the bottom 3, but B, also is going to hurt them should they get a couple of wins. That goal differential is still not great. Other clubs above them have a better goal differential, have a better head-to-head as well when it comes to wins, draws and losses, which also could prove crucial as well. And as I say, it's a very congested league right now. There's only a handful of clubs that you could say, like Sunderland, for example, at the top of the table, who are doing quite well. And at the bottom of the table, QPR and Portsmouth are looking a little bit out of their depth in comparison to other clubs that seem to be a little bit more congested. It's a very congested league, it's a very cutthroat league. But Mark Robbins, longest serving manager in the Football League, has now lost his job. As I say, it's going to be interesting to see who Coventry City appoint, but the fans are not happy with the board and they're not happy with ownership, and that could be a very rocky relationship that could be quite hard to repair, considering the issues this club has had with ownership, with financial stability, stadium issues. The ownership and the board need to keep the fans on side, and I think they're risking that relationship where we've seen a lot of fan protests at the club before. A lot of mismanagement off the field. Hopefully they get the right guy in who can turn things around. If it was just a pure performance and results issue, But I think this is the current ownership wanting to have their own guy in, because Mark Robbins was not the current owner's appointment. He predated them. So it'll be interesting to see who they get in, and it'll be interesting to see if performances improve or if they get worse. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to Coventry City for the rest of this season. But for me, for now, thank you very much for watching. I want to hear from Coventry City fans on the sacking of Mark Robbins. I mean, it has come a little bit out of the blue, but it's yet another managerial sacking, and we're only on November the 7th. We're the first week into November, and we are seeing more it's just the managerial merry-go-round and circus continues, because owners expect instant results, instant success, and promotions and trophies, and only a handful of clubs can get promoted, and only a handful of clubs can win silverware any given season. And some of these owners are living in la-la land, in my opinion. And the revolving cycle of management, you're now hired to be fired. And the fact he had kept his job since March 2017 as the longest tenured manager in the Football League speaks volumes, because most managers have been in their positions for less than 18 months in the Premier League and the Football League. So the fact he had been in there since before this channel even started, so far back he goes, this channel started in April 2017. He had been appointed in March. So he's been the Coventry City manager for the entire time this channel has existed. So that's sinking. But for me, for now, thank you very much for watching. I do want to hear from Coventry City fans. Place your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what you see. And also don't forget that memberships are also now available as well. So it'd be nice to see some of you guys as viewers become members. So there we go. But for me, for now, it is goodbye.